Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Temple of Possibilities. I am Minister William, or Reverend Will if you wish, leading today's sermon of August 2nd, 2026. And as always, we'll start with a moment of silence for prayer, meditation, or what have you. Alright, thank you. I want to apologize for not having a sermon up last week. I was dealing with a bit of exhaustion. It's been raining here every day, so it kind of made everyone tired, and I fell asleep and didn't wake up until 7 o'clock in the morning. So, sorry. But this week's sermon is called An Unbroken Song. It was written by Julie Yanun Kim on May 22nd, 2024. In our bodies, we carry the blood of our ancestors and the seeds of future generations. We are a living conduit to all life. We are strengthened by who we come from and inspired by those who will follow. Sherry Mitchell, Wahan Hamu Kasa, and Sacred Instructions. I probably butchered that name. I can count the number of stories about my paternal grandfather on two hands. For the descendants of refugees and immigrants, stories can be precious commodities, hidden by trauma and muffled by something. Stories from my father's side have been dissolving into history one by one. Maybe for the reason the one I know best is the one I love most. The story of the night my grandfather died. My grandfather was a refugee in what now is North Korea, living in what became South Korea. After the war, he and my grandmother had 5 children. My father was the eldest and lived in the mountains where my grandfather pastored the local church. When my father was 14 years old, it was clear that his father would soon die. The family gathered around my grandfather as he lay on his deathbed, unable to speak and struggling to breathe. Outside, the church members and town people also gathered and sang, "Still all my song shall be, nearer my God to thee, nearer my God to thee, nearer to thee." As my aunt recounts the story, they also break into song. "How long did you sing?" I asked. "We must have sat there for hours. Is that right?" one aunt wondered aloud. All the while the song did not end. For the last hours of my grandfather's life, he heard an unbroken chain of praise sung by his wife and children and sustained by the whole town in mourning. My paternal grandfather and his family are shrouded in mystery in my mind. His story feels like a blurry legend of a hero whose distant sacrifice I have to thank for the possibility of my own life. The story transcends the rest in its clarity through It's obviously constructed by my own mind. There are faces I recognize, emotions I have felt, and lyrics to a hymn I can sing. I have often felt the divine most present to me when I feel dissolved into the holy community, held up by their unending song in moments when I am unable to offer anything. Perhaps this is the final story and most intimate lesson that my grandfather has left me. Prayer. God of my ancestors, thank you for keeping us alive in your memory. What war and death cut short, you hold for all time. May the stories of the dead be the strength and wisdom for the living. It is always good to pass on the stories of our ancestors to those who will come after. Even while my grandfather was still alive, and my grandmother's, my parents always told stories about them. My grandfather told my mom and aunts stories of his childhood, and they passed them down to me. My grandfather was natural born cook. He did everything by eye. Uh, he would mess with skunks in his childhood and cut the purposely get sprayed and then sit in front of the vents at the lunch room. They'll send him home. He would return a week later, saying that he had to walk the entire way and it took him a week to get home and back. Those are the stories I remember about my grandfather, or my ancestor. But remember, when we all come together, the possibilities are endless. I'll see you next week.